The Tomorrow People, episode 15, Enemy of My Enemy. And this episode I really enjoyed because we got a pretty good, villain character back again, and the character is Julian. And, you know, in the last episode, just like this one, he was a pretty crazy character. He was crazier in the last one because I think it was his introduction, so we got to see him really go nuts. But in this one, he was a little bit more toned down because he was, working with Ultra, and he was kind of really centered on taking down the Tomorrow People, and it wasn't just, oh, I found Kara after all these years, I'm gonna hurt her. He was really focused and driven, and he has a bomb in his nose, so he kind of had a straight line focus. And in this episode, they did some really interesting stuff, like Steven really taking charge and proving that he's really with the Tomorrow People in front of that kill squad and Julian. And fortunately, how things ended up working out, he doesn't end up getting busted. But something that really happened at the end that interested me was the fact that him being alive was clearly good news to Jedediah, and this was the second time we get to see him. Not nearly as emotional as when he lost the twin in the other episode, but you could see his eyes were watering up a little. He was kind of distressed. He was like, I didn't know Steven was going to be there, in that mission, and at all. And then when he doesn't know what's happening with anyone, he's worried, I might have, lost my nephew. And he does actually care, even though he's not really too good at showing it. You can see that he does actually give a crap at certain times when it comes to, life or death and Steven. But it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it, especially the ending. Some of the things they did in this episode were really cool. Like, Astrid, for one, her being, in the episode, that was good, because they mentioned how she was back at home. They didn't wait to, show her. She's right back in the show. So that was one thing I really, really enjoyed. And they kind of did that early on in the episode to show, like, hey, Astrid is going to be in the show again. They aren't, pushing her out after a while. She's right back in. And, her and John kind of talked, and he helped her realize, as scared as you might be, you still have to live your life because, otherwise what's the point of living? So he, takes her out and stuff, and that was really cool. And, you know, John and Kara kind of, well, bonding, obviously. Them getting back together and deciding we're gonna, make this work like we used to, and, them teaming up was really good, and it'll kind of bring back the dynamic of the Tomorrow People, as an economy, and that would be pretty cool to see. And also just to see, them actually being back together again, how that affects Steven, because of course he still loves Kara, but he did, as he said to John, I think you deserve to be with the Tomorrow People, and be with Kara. But he said that's not what he meant. But in a sense, it kind of did. But it was a really good episode. The ending was pretty surprising. Just because of how extreme it was. Like, obviously they couldn't show anything on TV, but Julian's head exploded. He's dead, and he's not an enemy anymore. And Kara, she was kind of pushed to her limits, and she took him out. She took out him, and I would assume John kind of took out the kill squad, or they were killed in the explosion because it was the force of a grenade. So there wasn't a lot of space, but either way, they've been taken care of too. So fortunately, Steven, once again, he's free and clear, and the Tomorrow People, no one was killed, and they even got the little girl back, which I thought was pretty cool. And so she's with the Tomorrow People, and she was happy at the end because of course John was there. But ultimately, it was a really good episode. Loved the ending. Thought it was fairly intense because I wasn't sure if Julian would somehow escape and survive, and maybe he wouldn't go right to Ultra, but maybe he'd be out there and have that information, like, Steven is a rat, as he put it. But, not gonna happen because his head blew up. So, that, him as a character has ended, but I thought it was really, really well done, and it was cool to see him come back as a character because, like the last time he was in it, he's just an intense character, and he's just so driven on revenge that, he went straight to Ultra, and, that kind of, as Kara put it, eventually him going after his own people, for revenge will catch up to him, and it definitely did in this episode because that timer went off, and he was almost saved because Jedediah wanted to cancel it, but they were so far underground, the signal got lost, and there was nothing he could do, and that was the end of Julian. He was done. Something that happened when he was captured. They mentioned the fact that the glass was bulletproof. I have no idea if that was why he couldn't teleport through it. And obviously, he couldn't teleport up because of all the T chips. But I don't know. She mentioned it was bulletproof. I think that was really just because, you know, his head was gonna explode, so it would protect them. But it really was like a square of glass. It wouldn't have. It couldn't have possibly hurt anybody anyway. So I think she mentioned that because it might affect their powers, like kind of how water affects telepathy. Maybe they can't teleport through like tempered glass and stuff if it's so layered and thick. They can't do it. But I don't know. That wouldn't make sense because they teleport through like trains and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it was just because of the explosion. But like I said, maybe that was a part of it in some small way. But I also thought, couldn't the kill squad have just like shot the T chips and he would have been perfectly fine? He could have just, I mean, he would have probably died off anyway. But because I don't think the signal was just like searching for the thing. So once you press it once and you stop, that's it. But if he went to ultra with a couple seconds left, they probably could have canceled it if they just the kill squad shot the T chips. But whatever, he's gone, so it's too late. And also, I thought it was weird that they follow his orders to put the T-chip on Steven in the first place, because I thought it would kind of be like above and beyond, kind of their pay grade to just take orders from this guy when I assume everyone knows that, Steven is Jedikai's nephew, especially considering the fact that they were right behind him when Steven, walked up to Julian. But all in all, like I said, it led to the ending, so it doesn't really matter how things could have gone. Julian, with his revenge, ultimately got himself killed, and obviously the kill squad as well. But really good episode. The ending with all the random devices and Steven finding one that's kind of activated makes me really curious as to just what it does. If it who knows, amplifies his powers or leads him to closer to his dad or something like that. But we'll have to wait and see. And in the preview for the next episode, they revealed it's going to be on Mondays now, which I thought was really weird. I don't know. I think it changed because one of the new shows, it might be the 100 or the show Starcross. One of those is going to be on. I'm hoping it's 100 because I'm curious about that one. And I'd like to see like Arrow and then the 100 if I like the show. But I'm not interested in Starcross. But it's one of those shows. I think that's why the Tomorrow People is going to be on Mondays now. So that was interesting just to hear, but definitely excited for it to come back and can't wait to see just what that device is. Like, I want to know what it does to Steven and the other characters and how it changes everything in the show, because it kind of has to, because, that's TV. When you end with, all this random device suddenly activated, that means it's going to be a huge plot device for the rest of the series. So, excited for that, but definitely loved this episode. The end of an era for an interesting and insane villain, but ultimately it made for a really great episode. Comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it, favorite parts, least favorite parts, and definitely tell me, what do you guys think the device is going to do to Steven, or for him if it doesn't do anything to him. Comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.